All right, my friends, I'm just getting over COVID for the second time, and I gotta tell you, it is still no joke. That just took me down. Crushed me for a week. Probably gonna sound out of breath halfway through this thing, but I figure let's get it done. Move on with life. So I was online the other day, and one of the women I follow does a lot of handmade tools, and she made a bench scraper. So I said, you can make a bench scraper. I'm going to make a bench scraper. So I went out and bought this 6-inch piece of steel. As you can tell, it's got good tonal value. Getting ready for my jug band audition later in the day. This is a angle grinder, and I've come to realize there's not a substrate you cannot cut with it. Steel, wood, stone, concrete, brick, you name it, they got a blade for everything. So looking to cut down the rolled steel sheet to dimension. And right about here is when you realize you probably don't want to be wearing your down vest when you're throwing that many sparks around. So back to the grind, I'm trying to get a nice straight edge. So I have that piece of wood clamped down to hold the steel, using it as a guide. Unfortunately, obviously steel is stronger than wood, so it wasn't perfect. But with a little filing, I was able to get a nice clean edge on it. I dug around the shop looking for a nice decorative piece of wood with a nice grain highlight. I think this is rosewood. So just cutting the handle down. The width of the bandsaw blade turns out to be the exact thickness of the rolled steel that I have. So just cut a groove in there. And the steel scraper fits right into it, nice and tight. You will see later on that I do a bunch of these. The first one I'm just mimicking the bench scraper that I own. So just following the same design. Always a good way to just get a feel for it, and then after that start having some fun. So cut the top arc, sanding it down. I'll then take it over to the router table using a, I think, 1/2-inch round over bit, and just sort of smooth out all the edges. Little design element makes it fit more comfortable in the hand. So first, bench scraper starting to come together nicely. Pretty easy to do. Maybe took a half an hour or so just to bring that together. Throw a little beeswax on there, polish it up. I end up just gluing in the steel blade to the handle using an epoxy. It was a pretty tight fit into the wood. So it's pretty easy. Cleaning it up with steel wool. The issue with steel is obviously it stains, so I need to put a finish onto that metal eventually. Otherwise it'll just keep rusting when water gets on it. Did I mention I'm just getting over COVID? I feel like I just ran a marathon already. Alright, so into some more prototyping. I found this fun laminated piece of wood kicking around the shop. I can't remember what I bought it for, but thought it'd be fun to turn into a unique handle. So, different width, different shape, different cutout. Same sort of concept though, so just having fun. I think all these blades, I mean, it was like a half-day project, so time-wise, it was pretty easy, and so just having some fun, working through some different forms. I really like this one. It's a blend of walnut and cherry wood, which are two of my favorite combinations together. Just warm colors. And I use dowels to go all the way through. So instead of using epoxy to hold the blade in, the dowels are more of a mechanical way to secure the blade in place. And then that little walnut detail right through. It's a thicker blade. Didn't felt too thick, too big in the hand. But I like the way it looked. So here's another fun one. A great piece of curly maple. So great figuring on it. And then I used a 1/8" copper metal dowel to go through it and add those accent dots. It looked a little bling bling for this guy, but maybe someone else would like it. Anyway, it was a fun prototype. So here are all the ones I made. That's my original one that I bought from the store. That's the first one I made that was replicated the one I bought from the store. There's the bling bling one with the copper dowels. I didn't film this one, but I liked it. Same maple wood, and I left the blade on that a little bit longer, so I like that too. So all in all, maybe 5-6 hours of just hanging out, having some fun, working on some different prototypes, and we'll head on up to the kitchen. This is my sourdough starter. It was given to me by one of my students right before Thanksgiving 2019. So I've had it for a while, and it's awesome. I haven't named it because I think I'm too cool to name starters, but that's just me. So baking's a great way to use my brand new bench scrapers. They're great for clearing off the bench, portioning dough, moving things around. So I'm making English muffins, doing some breakfast sandwiches. This is probably the night before. I'll let it sit overnight, and then first thing in the morning, we'll start cooking the English muffins. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of people went through their sourdough phase. It's just a great way to bake, and it's so easy. I mean, when the apocalypse happens, there's going to be two things left: cockroaches and sourdough starters. It's just impossible to kill. I'm pretty active with mine, but I can easily just throw it in the back of the refrigerator for a month and not even think about it. A little more food, and it just pops back to life. So this is probably the next morning. I just let it bulk ferment overnight, so I don't have to think about it. Sourdough takes a long time to ferment, so might as well just do it while you're sleeping. So next morning, got my new bench scrapers, got my fully fermented English muffin dough, and ready to go to work. Alright, so I finally have my English muffins formed. I'm over to my griddle, which I don't use a lot, and you will see that soon. A few temperature issues. Anyway, basic dough. Use milk instead of water. A little sweetener in there with honey, and then you crust it with cornmeal, and then you throw it on the griddle and cook it that way. So just sort of a unique way to cook the bread. So not sure what happens with my griddle temperature, but as you can see, the thing gets ripping hot. It is smoking. So I've sprayed a little oil, 2 eggs scrambled down, throwing some cheese in. They're not tasting good, but I certainly wouldn't serve it at a restaurant. Woo-wee! Look at that char. Little pancake? What's going on there? Anyway, all's well that ends well. The sourdough English muffins were delicious. My burnt egg omelet accented it perfectly. My bench scraper working like a charm. It just all came together.